Your team can fill your nervous system before you ever say a word. And most founders have no idea they are the biggest liability in their own business. They think it's hiring, they think it's strategy, they think it's execution. But what they don't realize is their team is not responding to what they say. They're responding to who they are. And if you don't fix this, you will be the bottleneck no matter how smart you are. Okay, I want you to think about that. So I'm going to show you exactly why this happens and what to do about it so you don't become the bottleneck in your business. I've worked with founders at all levels, from guys just starting out, trying to figure out what they're doing, and guys doing millions of dollars, building teams, making big decisions. And what I've seen over and over again is this. At the beginning, business feels like a strategy game. Funnels, offers, marketing, sales. But at a certain point, the game changes and your business becomes a direct reflection of your internal state. Not your intentions, your state. Tony Robbins talks about this all the time. Your nervous system is the key to your success. So, because whether you realize this or not, your nervous system is constantly broadcasting signals. It's energy through your tone, your body language, your consistency, your presence. You don't need to say you're stressed. People are just going to feel this. You don't need to say you're unsure. People are going to feel it. This is biology. Humans are wired to scan for safety. So when the leader is unstable, the entire system adjusts around that instability, right? And this is like what most people miss, man. They don't understand that. And Google, they did a study on this. It's called Project Aristotle, and they wanted to know what actually makes teams perform. And the number one factor wasn't talent or intelligence. It was psychological safety of the employees. People perform when they feel safe. And that doesn't come from policies. It comes from you. You're the one that makes your team feel safe. They're a reflection of you. See, most founders are completely dysregulated. They just hide behind productivity. They're busy all day, but inconsistent. They're moving, but unclear. They're pushing, but unstable. Late to meetings, canceling, changing direction, reactive, not proactive. And they think this shit's normal. I'm telling you, this is not normal. It's not. It's instability, and your team feels it. Okay? Your team is not underperforming. They are adapting to you. I want you to think about that. They're not underperforming. They're adapting to me. See, I learned this early before I ever got into coaching. I was in Las Vegas working as a sommelier, super high level environments, 5-star, 5-diamond, Bellagio win, precision, standards. And I had a mentor tell me something that stuck. Mark, be slow to hire and quick to fire. At the time, I didn't fully understand it. But what he was really saying was protect the culture at all costs. Because skill can always be taught. But energy, mindset, alignment, that's everything. That's your team. That's your unit. And so later on, when I opened my own business downtown, I opened a brew pub in downtown Las Vegas. I took that lesson very seriously. We interviewed 400 people, 400 y'all, to hire 8. Get those numbers right. Okay, 400 to hire 8. Think about that. See, because most people would look at that and say, oh, that's excessive, but it's not. It's intentional. Because I wanted employees that were going to be there for the long haul. I was building a culture. And what we built was one of the strongest cultures I've ever seen. People cared, they showed up, they went above and beyond, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. And they never left. These people didn't quit. And here's the part that most people miss. They didn't come from the perks. It didn't come from the pay. It came from the leadership, the genuine care, the environment we created, the standard we held, the way we made our people feel when they walked into that space. We treated them like family and they knew it. And that's when it really clicked for me. Culture is not what you say. It's what you feel. Culture is not what you say. It's what you feel. Remember that. Okay. Now I just want to fast forward real quick to working with founders. I see the same pattern over and over again. Guys doing 30 million and they can't even code because their forearms are falling apart. Founders packed with schedules and have to cancel half their meetings. Men who are powerful in person and completely inconsistent on the day-to-day. And none of this is malicious. They're just completely unregulated. Completely unregulated. It's mind-blowing to me. They're like gonna break. And so what happens is your team shifts into survival mode. Like a child with an unstable parent, they're always scanning, they're always adjusting, they're always reading you because they don't know what's coming next. That's your team. They're not focused on growth. They're focused on managing you because you don't have your shit together. I want you to think about that. And I'll tell you my own personal collapse story here. I lived this myself during what I call sacred collapse. Okay. I was off. Externally, things looked like they were still moving, but internally, I had no stability. I was going through a complete breakdown, and my assistant felt it immediately. And she had to manage me, not the business, Mark. And you could see what I was doing to her. And this was a wake up call I couldn't ignore. I just couldn't allow it. And if I can't lead myself, how am I going to lead my business and others? I want you to think about that, because leadership isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being the most stable, the most capable, the most available for these people to feel supported. So if you want a high performing team, it comes down to four things: your stability, your clarity, the safety you create, and the standards you uphold. And most founders are only focusing on standards, and that's why their teams break, because they're not focusing on the whole picture. So you're not building a team. You're building a nervous system for people to plug into. And whatever state you're in, that's what gets distributed. So think about that. What is my state? And at some point, you have to face the reality. You got to face the mirror, because your business will only grow to the level you're willing to grow. So if things feel stuck, stop trying to fix the business. Fix the person, the man, the woman leading the business. That's where everything changes. Okay. And if you want to do this, I highly recommend you find a strategic thinking partner, a high level mentor, somebody that does what I do, whether it's me or somebody else. Reach out and connect with that person and allow them to mirror back to you what's going on, give you a different perspective, and guide you in becoming the leader that your team needs, that your community needs, that your family needs, but most important, the leader that you need, because that's where the change really comes into place. You've got to change if you want your team to change. You got to up level if you want your team to up level. It's all about you. And that is the work that I do. And that is the work that I love, watching people do things they never thought they could do and become versions of themselves that were better than they could have ever hoped for or imagined.